After a grueling work through of the rule book, we's gonna start, but I'm playing Raid right now, and we'll be up and down, but I wanted to get a little bit of play in. I did manage a couple of little notes because I went online to check some stuff. Somebody a couple of days ago asked a couple of rules questions. One of them that resulted in an absolute, the response by the designer ended up in an absolute contradiction of a specific rule. Then he pointed out, and I went to look in the errata and, the clarifications, and it's not there. But while I was there, I found one change that really was a clarification. And it was kind of a nice one. It's what belongs in what you would call clarifications as opposed to errata. Clarifications should be, hey, something's, a little ambiguous maybe. Which way does it go? I could read this a couple of ways. At least some people might find something not easy to understand when it's not really just problematic or wrong, right? Like correcting numbers in a reference chart or something. And this one was a nice one, and I don't consider this errata at all, but it's if a new deck is supposed to be shuffled in, it's totally an edge case scenario. If a new deck is supposed to be shuffled in and the last card of the old deck has been drawn, what do you do? Do you just shuffle the new deck on its own and put it down, or and it turns out no, you shuffle the discards in with it? Remember, in most of the wave entries, you do not shuffle the used cards back in. They only get shuffled in on the last, when the deck is depleted. And there's sort of different gaming groups have different rules for how you handle reshuffles in those kind of cases. I used to play in a group that had a very specific, you do not reshuffle the discard deck. This was across the board for almost every game that it wasn't specific otherwise. If you when you run out of draw cards, the discard deck doesn't get reshuffled until somebody has to draw a card. Now you can play it completely differently, where the discard deck always gets reshuffled, but this gives that one edge case. All right, how do we start this? We start with the draw phase. There's no additional wave. Each player is going to get 7 cards. There's no tribal reserve. All right. This is really great for opposed play, but for solo play, I really prefer to have things on the long side, I guess. Although that wouldn't be as good for opposed play, but it could be like one guy's over here, one guy's over here, so that I have a clear distinguishment of which person's deck is going where. But where do I want the Romans? I'm going to put the Barbarians to the east, because more of them are there, even though that being there feels like, I don't know. Don't ask me. All right, so we take a look. Let's take a look at what some of the cards are. Activate a loyalist leader with strategy rating of 1 or 2, giving them 6 action points. This is better than the 1 point that I could use, right? But if it was in the tribal reserve, I couldn't. Activate 2 leaders using this card's ops. Resolve combined attack battles at the end of both moves. So this is a campaign card. Play when a usurper leader is activated and a loyalist force of at least 3 CU. So this is a reaction. Occupies a space in the same province. Increase victory points by 1 unless the barbarian wins a battle in this province. Wow, that's kind of a confusing one. I assume they have to win it on that card. But yeah. Activate a loyalist leader using this card's ops. This impulse, all siege attempts result in the gain of 2 siege points and the loss of 1 besieging CU. Sort of a more I don't understand why it's called Loyalist Uprising. Activate a card using this card's ops, but the siege attempts result in the gain of 2 siege points. Okay, so you spend what? It's like 2 action points for a siege, I believe. We got an action point cost chart? Yeah, it's over here. So siege. No, we don't have an action point cost. At least not here. Barbarian player plays first, but I believe this scenario I have the so I want to look at the Romans because I believe in this scenario the Romans have the option to swap sides. I don't know if that may be their first action that they have that option. Probably not going to take it. Place loyalist CU in up to 2 loyalist provincial capitals or 2 points. Now, one of the problems with a CDG is you have to get used to what the costs are. Oh, I don't remember. What was the action point thing? Yeah, what is the cost in action points? Where is this listed? Siege procedures spend 2 action points, but I guess most of it's movement, so it's not that big a deal, but I feel like there should be a cost table somewhere. Eliminate a barbarian CU, place an allied CU in a loyalist cultivated or border space, and change control over that space to allied. So this is like, yeah, this is a limited settlement. It's interesting. Activate a loyalist leader using this card's ops. This impulse for AP cost for naval movement between Mediterranean ports is reduced to 1. Normally it would be 3. You only have 4 normally. Let's look at the barbarians, see what they're looking at, because they're going to go first. Barbarian migrations. Activate any number of barbarian tribal markers for migration. Unfortunately, there aren't any, so this is just a 1-point card in my hand. Enemy leader wounded. Play during battle to reduce the opposing commander's leader's tactical rating to 3. Don't remember. You know, Legion Games has a tendency, and some other companies maybe as well, of giving one of these player aid cards with breakdowns of what the counter values mean. That's probably not that big a deal in this game. There's only really one kind of counter that has values on it that you have to look at. But they tend to put that information there. So initiatives first, tactical second. It could have gone either way. I figured that was it. That's been kind of the convention since Freddy the Great, right? The road to the throne. Play after winning a battle against a loyalist leader. Displace that leader and reduce victory points by 1. That's a powerful card, point-wise. But it's also a 3-point card that you'd be throwing out of your deck. Do you want to put it back in? Well, prelude cards get removed. And you're probably not going to see this again, right? Because there's only 2 prelude turns, and I've got half the cards. So it's like, do you want 3 points for an activity, or do you want this? Provincial levies, place 1 usurper CU with a usurper leader. Place 2 instead if the leader is an emperor. There aren't many emperor usurpers, but again, that's a prelude card, so this is the period where they would be. Garrison, play when placing an under siege marker. Eliminate a number of besieging CUs equal to the number of besieged CUs, then eliminate the garrison. Activated leader may make a 0 SAP siege attempt. Alright. Yeah. But there would have to be a garrison for that to work. Play when a loyalist CU are moving along rough connections, either with an activating leader or using forced march. Eliminate up to 2 moving CUs. Again, this is a reaction card. Kind of painful. Minor campaign, activate 2 leaders. So, the hard thing I'm having is I'm used to, and this is why it's a problem. The barbarians are right under the, but I want them in the east, you know. I'm used to when I pull a CDG, a couple of events just calling out to me and everything else being kind of points. And I'm just not sure what to do. Anyway, we did the draw phase. We go to the strategy phase. Put these dice here. I'm going to check on raid. I'm probably not going to be back for a while. But I wanted to get a glance at the cards. I wanted to speak a couple of words for whatever reason. And cheers. The decision of what to play is often really tricky in a situation like this. Goal-wise, for the Barbarians here, what I think I'm trying to do is just gain a point or two. Try to shake things up, in addition to trying to hold my territory. So anything that'll get me points sounds good. I'm not too worried. I'm not trying to set up any Barbarians to be, you know, functioning sources of points. I'm trying to grab what I can out of what's here. This guy is incredibly slow, so I probably don't want to use him much. He's not particularly good militarily. Constans II is really good overall. Not all emperors are so quick-witted, so he's got a decent military capability and a low initiative, which means I get to do a lot with him. But this guy's up at the front with a decent military. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play provincial levies, place a usurper CU with usurper leader, put 2 instead of the leader's the emperor. Oh, I can get 2 here. Okay, I'll put 2 with my emperor then. And that means we'll use... The way the change works, because there's different things on different sides, it makes it kind of difficult to just add or subtract pieces. It's okay. All right. Now, oh, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. I took the wrong pieces. Fuck me. Yeah. I took the purple pieces when what I want is the Roman-looking pieces and not the somewhat less Roman-looking pieces that I chose to take. Okay. Now I make a decision on the Romans. Now, they had a choice right away. Do you want to swap? I didn't. There was nothing I saw in my cards that made me want to do that. That would have given me a jump and allowed me to take the first impulse. Instead, I move forward. Tough to figure out what the hell to do always in these games. You know, in any of these. But I've got this Mare Nostrum card. That seems like a good idea. I'm going to activate him. He has... Let's look here. He has an activation of 1. I played a 3 for him. That means I'm going to have 5 activation points. I kind of wish... There's a lot of extra counters and whatnot. I kind of wish there was a counter track, and I may do it, for how many impulses you have left. I always kind of like that with these. Okay, so 3, that gives me 6 activation points, and Mediterranean port activations are reduced to 1. I could just, so I could make a move on Africa, but as an alternative, I could make a move right on Rome. If I can knock the emperor out, that would actually give me great power. I'm assuming I'm allowed to poke through the forces. He has quite a large force. Rome does not, so going after Rome seems like a kind of neat idea. So let's do that. 1 to here. I am now besieging it. And we put one of these here. 2-3 lets me roll on the siege table. It's a loyalist leader, so it's got a +1 on the siege roll. I've got at least 3 CUs. I get 2 siege points. What can I spend siege points on? Each siege point eliminate a garrison. If ungarrisoned, flip to Colonia. If ungarrisoned, win the siege against a castle or a walled city. I have just taken this city. Now, I don't get anything for that right away, right? So what have I used? I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. I'm going to siege this. This puts me kind of close to these guys. He's got more troops, but I'm a better leader. Who the hell is this? Sylvanus. I don't know. I'm at +1 on the siege table. This is the end of my movement. I get a 4. A 4 or 5 causes 1 hit. That'll be the strength point there, but the siege remains. And this goes there. This goes away, and we'll be going over here. Not a lot go, you know, like, is this stupid because I'm putting myself close to his forces? Probably. But I didn't just want to go for Africa. I felt like taking Italy itself, taking Rome, would be of value. And it actually feels smaller, although it isn't with these. However, there is the usurper rule where these are going to disappear. This will stay. And so I need to take, I've taken the capital at Rome. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I need to take, did I just count 10 total, or 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I need to take this, and then I think 5 other locations, one of which I already have. Very low value card. I can't use the event. Gives me -1 movement point, 3 movement points, which is, I believe, exactly what I need to move 1, 2, 3. Now, it's up to the Romans. Do they want to avoid battle? Avoiding battle is not allowed by a besieging force. So I'm stuck. He gets a relief force here. There is no garrison anymore, so I don't have to look up and see what's up with that. The attacker is allowed to play a single card. This is after winning a battle. I have this enemy leader wounded. I'm going to be blowing a lot of my cards here, but I'm going to play this. That reduces his tactical rating from 3 to 0. Do I have anything here? This was activated over in this province, so I don't get an advantage off of this. I wouldn't do it anyway, and none of the other cards help. So we got our first battle. It's 4 strength points, and the actual rules are easy. Like, if I had fiddled around with this and played this, you wouldn't have a nearly 5-hour intro video. You would have had, you know, they could have been written very, very easily so that they were understandable. So I didn't have to parse through every single thing the way I did, right? In addition. All right, so we look at the combat table. And our modifiers are +2, I believe. Let's look. Battle. Superior leadership is the difference in tactical ratings. The barbarians are a +2. Combat superiority, both are at +1. So we're going to need some modifier. We're going to need something to indicate modifiers here. I'll use these axes. So the barbarians are a +2. The Romans are a +1 for combat superiority. They both get it. There's no river. Army size, +1 for each CU over 10. No interception. No chance to avoid battle. Overrun. If no non-phasing CU left after all losses. Okay, so the AP cost goes away, right? So, the die roll is +2 for the Barbarian, +1 for the Romans. Number of CUs involved is 3 and 4. So 4 on the 4 causes 1 hit, and 5 on the 3 also causes 1 hit. Both sides take a hit. Sorry. We have to put forces down, and then we kind of have to look up what the hell's going on. I know what. The attacker won because there were equal odds. That's what happened. Tied battles are won by the side with which participated with participating Roman CU. If none, the attacker wins ties. If only Roman CU, defender wins ties. Oh, only Roman CUs, the defender wins ties. It is possible to win with no remaining. Okay. Victory. No. All right. I'm going to look to see what the results are. I know I have to retreat with the attacker, but I don't know if there's anything else. So we got a couple of interesting things. First of all, I have to retreat here. I don't lose any additional forces because I control that. These are here. They don't have additional points. I used my last movement to go in here, so I wouldn't get, and I'd have had to spend another action point to do so. So I don't get anything there. And we've broken the siege. And, you know, it's okay, right? That's going to put us back to the Loyalists. Because if you compare this to, like, the poorly written but very sparse rules for Campaigns of Marlborough, which I just recently did, and really harshed on because it is so painful. What I can find where, I had great trouble in that game, just the way it was set up, but I feel like this one is just as bad because the rules are still organized in a way that doesn't really work well, but also they are just so verbose with all those examples and everything. So what I'm looking for right now is, what am I looking for? I was looking for the Romans. Yeah. I want to know whether or not I can hide in the city if he attacks me, because that's going to affect my decisions. And maybe there is an index that'll help. So garrison size is there. Excellent. 10.31. That is a huge bonus, because especially with something that's this verbose. So then I find out no more than 2 can be inside a walled city. Okay, good. I realize this just looking at the map. It's one of the things that I don't know how I feel about point-to-point maps. But the Alps are really nicely represented here. So I'm trying to get from here across into Cisalpine Gaul here, which is called Italia Annonaria. I don't know. And, you know, it's really hard. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 to here, 4, 5, 6. Wow. Here, 1, 2, 3. Much easier to cross the Alps here. So, you know, it's showing the passes and all that. I have a few choices here. Not that one. I could gather some reinforcements, which would not be a bad idea. Eliminate a barbarian sea. Play when a usurper leader is activated in a loyalist force. Yeah, that's the one I had. Roman vigor. So this one I could play. It would give me 6 action points, which would allow me to move in here and roll a siege and maybe take another capital. I thought there was another one that helped me. Yes, this one, the Loyalist Uprising. This impulse, all siege attempts resulting in the gain of 2 siege points and the loss of 1 besieging CU. That's powerful for capturing a number of locations at once. I'm going to play the Citizen Militia because I have some time here. Gather a couple more strength points. That gets me up to 8. So I will get rid of a 3 and put a 5 in place. Now, The thing that I know about Romans from Imperium Romana is when you can keep supply, you want to have your force to be as big as possible. And honestly, that is really, it's the same in almost any situation. You want your force as big as possible. But there's no real reason for me to leave like a garrison back here or anything like that. So gathering that up seems like a good idea. And we're back over to the Barbarians. I gotta swap batteries and think. With cards like this, and this is nothing against the game at all, but they do make it much, much harder to play solo, and they make it much harder to play in any sort of way. Now, some people might say, well, it makes it hard to play solo because you don't, you know what your opponent has as tricky cards. I'm fine with that. Even if I happen to know, that's fine. I can do a quick die roll to handle that kind of thing. The real problem is that I don't remember I have it. And honestly, I've said this before, it's sort of a problem when I play opposed as well. Anyway, let me get to the... but I really have to kind of like look at both decks before I make any move. Both hands. I fucked this up, right? I had tied battle. This was the attacker. He's the one who lost. He's the one who won. And the siege is still ongoing. Which may mean that I don't want to play this, and I don't want to do what I just did, because what I want to do is launch a siege. I just realized, wait a minute, I'm having a lot of trouble because of this tied battles. Tied battles are won by the side with participating Roman CU. If no Roman CU, attacker wins ties. I don't know what it is that caused me the issue, but seeing this, play after winning a battle against a loyalist leader, displace that leader and reduces VP by 1. I was like, why didn't I play this? I knew I was supposed to play this because this guy lost. I think maybe because of the positioning of the cards, I got myself fucked up and didn't know what the hell I'm doing. So we're gonna roll everything back. The game's fast playing if you don't do this. It really is. Because now I'm actually very interested in doing a siege. And activate a loyalist leader using all those cards. OP. All siege attempts result in 2 points and the loss of a besieging CU. So I could take the city more easily, but I'd have a lot of points and I'd be reduced very quickly. Oh shit, I took this with me. I need to get the siege. I need to take the city. See, this gives me 4 points. That's the problem. I just don't have much. All right, we'll do the 4 points here. And we look through these to see what we got. Do we have anything? All right. Siege. Where is it? It's really hard for me to read all this italic shit. It's over here. Really hard to recognize where things are, to remember where they are. That stuff, I'm just so trained to blur away italic text because it's almost always examples or notes or stuff like that. I'm interested in reading it sometimes, but not when it's examples. But in this game, they decide, of course, because it's Compass, to do everything on the charts in it. The charts, the thing that has to be the most readable and recognizable of all. All right, I have a +1 for being that. I get a 7 or more, I get 2 siege points. So I had 4 action points. It cost me 2 to do the siege, and I take this. That means I have 2 more action points left. How do I track them? I don't know. I'll give myself a couple of these. 2 more action points left. What am I going to do with those 2 action points? If I move here, I can get intercepted. That's the problem. Do we have costs of action points? We don't. We have the cost of sieges, but somewhere there's like a converting spaces has a cost, right? And I don't know where it is. Like, I'm not seeing anything that deals with that. This is all the different things that you can do, but they're full actions. You play a card, you do X, Y, and Z, right? So that's not terribly useful. But I do need to convert a bunch of these spaces. I marched in and grabbed the sieges. I'm not going to have enough points, so I'm going to run away 1, 2, I guess. I don't automatically convert that, I think, because I don't know. Do we have something here? We'll keep looking. No conversion of spaces. What would it be called? I don't know. I don't know other than that. So we reread the movement rolls until we get to this, because that's where it's going to be, I'm pretty sure. Something additionally, after resolving an avoid battle, interceptions in battles potentially resulting from prior movement, any activated leader or rating CEO may spend an action point to place a control marker. But there's got to be a way to convert control otherwise. Now, some of these CDGs have, if you win a battle, and maybe you have to pay a point to do that, or more to enter a space to have a battle. Here you have to pay to get away, to get out of the battle, which is sort of the same thing, but more cumbersome. But then you, like, automatically get it. But that there's, like, a conversion cost otherwise. I can't find, and this pisses me off, I can't find anything, and no, these are all fucking blank. I can't find anything that tells me what the cost is of all the different things I can do. Ah, here we go. So buried here in the action rolls, which has things like draws up to 7 strategy cards. We have some more stuff down at the bottom. If you have 3 CUs with a fortification, you can siege. A force or rating CU that enters an unfortified space may spend 1 AP to convert that space to its power control. I wish we had a rules reference here, because this is not what I want, right? It means I have to enter the space in order to spend that extra AP. I need to find this rule and see how it's worded, because I can't just sit here, and maybe I can't be there. That may also be a possibility. Again, I probably have to reread the entire movement rules until this particular point drills in. And it's because the rules and the resources available are so bad. The game itself looks fine. It looks really light and simple, and, you know, one thing I found was under no circumstances may an unled CU remain in an enemy-controlled space. This can occur due to the removal of an emperor, etc. If illegal stacking persists at the end of the impulse, you have to get out of there. But that's not the situation here. The situation is a led force. Now, maybe you're only allowed to remain in areas that you can besiege, in which case I made a screw-up by playing this card, right? You know, but what the fuck? And I mean, I'm really trying to find where this thing is. Action point allowance. It doesn't tell me what I spend. There we go. No, this is just for movement costs. If a leader moves into a space containing an enemy CU, a battle occurs. If you're victorious, you can spend to continue movement. Additionally, after resolving any avoid battle, you may spend 1. This is a little different from what's written here. See, what's written here is, if I can find it again. Where was it? Down here. A force or rating CU that enters an unfortified space can spend an AP to convert that space to the power's control. This isn't that rule, if that rule exists. This is instead, let's see if I can find it again. I don't know where it is now. Additionally, after resolving any avoid battle interceptions and battles potentially resulting from any prior movement. Now this is under what? Is this under, this is under action point expenditure. Any activated leader may spend 1 action point to place a control marker belonging to his power. But honestly, and there's an exception, this can't be done in transit or fortified. That's fine. But so far I haven't been able to find anything that allows me to place this, and I don't find... That sounds like it happens if there were enemy forces present, but maybe not. Maybe it's after any potential. It does say that. So, right? Avoid any of these things potentially resulting from prior movement, any activated leader, or raiding CU. Maybe that'll help. No, it's not going to fucking help. But, yeah. I mean, conversion! No, that's under sieges. Did we look up C for conversion? I think that's what we did look up. No, not there. Yep. It's a very sparse index. There could be a hell of a lot more there. Migration and conversion, that's something different. Conversion and plunder, this is all different. There's a whole section on conversion. Wait. Are they all by siege? Yeah, it looks like they all are, but they're like not organized in a reasonable manner. Settlement. I mean, it's not going to be here. Regaining control? No, that's tribes. Like, oh. Terminology, does that help? Doesn't appear to. This is what you have to go through when you face this kind of rule set. And like, look, you know, somebody teaches you the rules, and they may well just gloss over and say, it's just like X game. And maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I'm supposed to say, it's just like X game, and I can spend a movement point here to convert this and move on. But I can't find the associated rule that says I can do that. Now, I thought there was one. I thought there was something that allowed that. Would it be under movement? Maybe, maybe not. Like, by the rules as written, I just don't think that I can move. We got movement restrictions. Loyalist players, leaders may not move to any space except Allied control spaces. No, may move to any. Okay? So I'm allowed to move there. But I think I have to burn an action point here that I don't use, that I want it to go here. Which means I don't want to do this, right? But I already rolled the siege. Yeah, I think I'm stuck here and I can't get this. Everything that I can find seems to support that. It's not what I thought. I thought I would be able to move here, convert this, and then move on, but I don't think I can. So, fuck me. Out of cards fast, right? It feels like I want to maneuver things around, do all kind of shit, bring troops down and everything. It's not happening. I have this garrison surprised, really cool for putting stuff under siege, but I don't know if I really am that interested in sieging other areas. Like, if I could take a provincial capital away, yeah, that would be worth a lot. I have this ambush. Play when loyalist CUs are moving along a rough. Yeah, they might do that, but I probably can use this for points. This one I really want to play. Play after winning a battle against a loyalist, displace that leader and reduce VP by 1. And displacing the leader makes him, like, go off map, I think. I don't know. Maybe just go someplace else. I know sometimes it makes him go off map. And then I have a minor campaign, but I'm worried about getting close to here with this leader. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this stupid ambush card. That gives me 5 movement with this force. 1, 2, 3. I can pick up, right? And there's something that doesn't allow you to pick up, and then there's maybe state cases where you can. This is again. So was there a pick up and deliver or something like that? Leaders and corps may be picked up and dropped off as long as they don't use more than 6 AP during the entire thing. Yeah. So I come out of here. 1, 2, 3. Pick this up. How many points do I have? I don't know. 5. 4. 5. I think. I'm not sure. But I'm going to go with that and drop off here, back to the Romans. I think I need to read the special rules for this card. Because it says, play when a usurper leader is activated and a loyalist force of at least 3 U's occupies the space in the same province. Now my assumption was upon activation. However, there's 2 ways to read is activated. This force moved into there and it was activated at the time. You would say, is that force activated? So we got to find this one. This is Prelude 13, and I'm not going up and checking. So we got clarifications on the cards, which are kind of sad because honestly they all look like they could have been in place, right? Why couldn't this be on the card? I'm assuming maybe they printed the cards first and then found errors. That's kind of the issue. Is Brothers End on here? It is not. This is the kind of thing that I could see 2 people very heavily disagreeing on. This force is activated and a loyalist force of at least 3 CUs now occupies a space in the same province. But, and I can try to take a brothers feud. What does that mean? I don't know. I mean, there could be brothers in forces that are that separated anyhow. Right. So I am not going to allow him to use that capability. But he really wants to because it gives a victory point, right? And that's huge. But see, he gets a victory point unless the barbarian player wins a battle in this impulse. Which means if I could play it at this moment when he's out of activation points but is activated still, right? As opposed to at the moment of activation. Again, this could have been worded a lot more carefully so that one way, you could actually argue the fact that it's not worded at the moment of activation almost argues against my interpretation of the card. But again, I can also argue that this puts him in an impossible situation. He walks into the province and I slap this thing down and take a victory point for no reason. But yeah, this is what happens when there's not, there's obviously not careful playtesting throughout, right? Like you send this package out to a blind tester and they'll throw it back and say, yeah, you got a nice idea here, man. It looks like you got a cool game idea. You know, you got to send this to a developer though, right? You know, or is that what I'm doing? Now I've got kind of an ugly situation, part because I know some of the cards and whatnot. I wanted to build some extra troops here. That was going to be my next move. I have some other things I could do, like a campaign to bring stuff here to harass the border maybe, or maybe down to Tentacle or whatever. Yeah, Tentacle's up here. Maybe down here to operate in Africa, which would be even more advantageous perhaps. But any of those feel like they have to go on hold because there's now a couple of Roman forces and I'm definitely outnumbered. If he has a campaign, he's going to fuck me up. I know he does. I'm going to go with odd. I go with my original plan. Even. I run down into Italy with this my emperor. Even it is. And so I play the Roman Vigor. The interesting thing is, so like there's these minor campaign to activate 2 leaders using this card as OP. Well, I could do that and like have 1 leader up here and 1 leader down here. You don't have to do anything that coordinates them at all. And that feels a little fucked up to me. Like that's not really a campaign anymore. That's just a card that's more powerful. Activates with the option. Activates a loyalist leader with a strategy rating of 1 or 2. This guy has a 2. He receives 6 action points. We get him moving. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, I siege, I guess. I don't know. Like, it's like, I can't win the provinces. I can't get them back without expending huge quantities of movement points. That's the problem here. So maybe I just need to win the battles, right? So I have 6 movement points and a good leader versus 3. Yeah, why don't we just win the battles? 1, 2, 3. I have to stop anyway. 4, 5. I siege. I'm at +1 on the siege table. I get a 5. That's a success. That was 4, 5. Now I have 1 more movement point. I could put him right diddle up the middle. That sounds scary. Like, very easy to bring these forces together, although it's probably pretty easy anyway, but I'll move to there. Did we have something that we could play? The road to the throne, play after winning a battle, garrison surprised, yeah, okay. So we're back to the Barbarians. The minor campaign, it's 2 leaders using this card's OP. That's 3. So this guy would be going at 6. This guy would be going at 5. That's a lot of movement points. And, wow, a campaign fucks me up. It stops me. Shit. Okay. I do a campaign. I move to here. 1. Do you want to intercept? No. 2. But. Nope, he didn't start in it. 1, 2, 3. I've got like 5 on this guy, right? 2, 3. He's got 2 left. He's going to do a siege at +1. That gives me a 3. That's going to be a 1-1. I take the city, but I lose a dude. A 2 and a 1. That's interesting. Okay. I take the city, but I lose the dude. Now I have 2 more movement points. I can move up here and pin this guy. Unless the siege stops my movement. I don't know if it says anything. I won't say it here. I know my last. Must stop temporarily suspend movement during the impulse. The leader can complete movement after successfully doing a siege. Yeah. So I've got 2 more movement points. So I go 1 up to here. I could have played it on this. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I would have played this. I would have played this. I played the Brothers feud when he activated, right? Where was he? Yeah, he was right there. So play when Usurper Leader is activated and a Loyalist force of at least 3 is in a space in the same province. Increase VP by 1 unless the Barbarian player wins a battle this impulse. He has not won a battle this impulse, but I'm okay. So this is in process. I move back up here. Now, I've got the campaign. That means he can go. But I'm allowed to try to avoid battle. Now, the campaign's going to give me 6 movement points. Okay. Where's avoid battle? Not allowed by a besieging force, by a force that failed to intercept into spaces containing enemy CU using naval movement. Okay. Roll a die plus the TR of 1 avoiding leader, +1 if Roman and avoiding across a clear, -1 if avoiding into another power space. I'm going to avoid up into here, I guess. Why not? So I have a TR of 3, tactical rating, so I need a 3 or higher. I'm out of there. He did not generate a battle. He's done moving. And that creates a victory point for the Romans. Good card. Okay, so the other part of my campaign might be against this fucker. I got 7 strength points here. He's got 6. I've got 6 movement points. 1, 2. He will hide in there because he has nowhere he can run to. He's got nowhere he can safely run to. I don't know if I try to avoid the battle. It feels like I would be caught outside the city. I don't know if that's the case. Yeah, I have to choose my garrison first. So 2 more points to attack on the siege table. And we look again at the sieges. What's the modifier? It's just the +1. I get a 2. That does nothing. I do it again. I roll it on the floor. It's the play-by-play, man. I get an 8. That's going to be sufficient to get me 2 hits. 2 hits is these 2 guys, but it doesn't give me the city. So these 2 are gone, and we have an under siege. I did not win a battle, so I don't get to play my special card. And we go back to the Romans. These CDGs give you an opportunity to move a leader, like, for cheap, right? You spend it on, it's kind of like the forced march rules in this, which don't feel anything like forced march, but you can spend 1 ops point and you can move a leader, a whole long way. Not this game. You activate a leader, you can move him, and he can pick up troops and everything, but he just activates like a normal leader. Whatever. We have another question. Citizen militia. Place a loyalist CU in up to 2 loyalist provincial capitals. This is not a loyalist province, but the capital itself is loyalist. I feel like I can do it, but we don't know. So, unfortunately, they don't tell you which card it is. So again, knowing that there's some errata here, I'm sorry, clarifications on the cards which were misprinted or whatever, unclear. The provincial capital may not be under siege. So they actually found something there to say. Plenty of room on the card they could have put it. So obviously it's just they failed and playtested the game with the cards already designed and printed and whatever, and didn't want to spend the extra effort, which I can kind of understand, but you kind of wish that the design had... You just always wish that games like underwent significant playtesting before they actually reached their published form. And in today's day, I've gotten playtest kits which things have been updated since by companies that are much, much smaller than this, right? I've gotten playtest kits that are professional quality playtest kits, right? That I'm like, I don't really need another copy of the game, because cards can be ordered on demand and whatnot. So sure, it's more expensive to print a few cards for a playtest kit, but it's just kind of amazing to think that this stuff went to the final printing without whatever input drove these. But this was not in final printing yet. Like, I don't know. But I know sometimes playtesters are really slow at getting their stuff back. They're trying to be absolutely, precise or whatever, or they can only play. It's insisted that they do their playtesting not solo or whatever, and not on camera, letting the, I do my playtests on camera, and I think they're very helpful to the people who've asked for them. Whereas, stuff like this. Anyway, where am I? I think that I will read Loyalist Provincial Capital kind of as written. This is a provincial capital that is loyalist, as opposed to within a province that's loyalist. I could look for some sort of definition. There are definitions here. It's funny with the amount of words that they use in this rule book, how imprecise and ineffectual they are. Loyalist usurper. In this case, the space is covered with a loyalist usurper control mark. You know what? That covers it for me. It's by space. It's not by province or anything like that. So, I will grab myself 2 extra strength points there. And yes, you really probably do not need all this much verbiage, do you? It's funny how you get what you don't need. Down to my last cards. Oh, I have 2. All right, back to the Barbarians. I would really like to win a battle. I don't see an easy way. This is when placing an under siege marker. I should have done this to begin with. I'll activate this guy. So, I have my siege. Yep. You know, these trigger. I mean, in a way, now I have more points, right? So, I have 6 points available. I spend 2 of them for my siege, and I'm at +1 on the siege table. Let's go off the table, man. 5, that's a success. I have taken the city, and now something has happened to Sylvanius, and it's time to look up what. And I'm glad I have these, because otherwise I would not know what's going on. I can't find anything that tells me what happens to that leader who's been taken in the siege. Not surprising. I know there, again, like the other thing, I know there's a rule. I wasn't able to find the other one. I may not find this one. I know there's a rule earlier in the rules which talks about something. I don't remember the term precisely. It's like disbanding or something like that, but it's not. Displacing. That's sort of like disbanding. So maybe that's what I need. I'm getting awfully early. Displace is not under here. All right, let's try again. Let's go back here. Displace, D. Term I remember that's in the game, right? Well, there are no D's, man. I mean, this is just... It's a crapshoot. Like, what is it? I've gotten a third, but I don't know. It's just a really weak index. So, yeah, I don't know what happens to this guy. Is he dead? Maybe it's under stacking. This isn't CUs. I feel like he's either displaced or gone. Got permanently eliminated, but that's... Usurper and enemies never lead to the game. Displacing such a leader. So we must be in displacement here. Okay, let's look. This is reinforcement phase. That's not going to tell me how things are displaced. Oh, boy. God. This rule book just makes the whole game almost unplayable. Well, okay. So I think displacement's being talked about in the reinforcement phase, which happens at the end of the turn. So why is it the first thing in the rule book? Before how you get displaced is discussed. So we just page through, right? I mean, is it in stacking? Are you not allowed to stack a leader? Forces. Is it a force? How about as a result of a successful siege? The relief force returns to the adjacent space. No. Like, I just sieged something and I don't know what happens. Like, the movement, the CUs go away. There's no question of that. But I'm not sure what the fuck happens to the leaders. This is not a battle. You would really think that this would be in the siege rules. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm not. Because there are all kind of places where it talks about, you know, an enemy leader can be alone in a city. But there's nothing that talks about winning the siege that I see. Control phase, strategy phase. Like, I don't know. I don't know if he's eliminated or displaced. You know, and it's a port. He could even, you know, you could make a pretty good argument that he could slip away or whatever. But this is what happens when you have games with great rule books. Now, one more chance here, leaders. After that, I'm just going to give up and say he's dead or something. 2.42. Leader displacement. The instant a leader is without a CU in a space containing enemy CU, place the leader in the displaced leaders box. Exception: loyalist, emperor leaders, and any usurper leaders displaced are permanently eliminated instead. This is not either of those. So yes, he escapes completely. He's not available till the reinforcement phase, but he's made it out, and we have taken this. And we now have, really glad I'm keeping count with these things, we now have 4 more actions. 1. Tarraco is a capital. I could spend 3, go here. I couldn't take it yet. I'll go up. 1, 2, 3. I have 1 more action. This is my king, right? My emperor. 4. We besiege him. We don't get to make any rolls. Now, we don't besiege him. We've just moved in there. Because he's too big to be besieged. Now, I'm hitting him with like 8 strength points to 8 strength points. I'm a better leader. I'll take the hit. You know, because I can switch sides if I want. Okay. So we're at 8 to 8. Let's look at the modifiers for combat. Where are they? These all go away. And we look for battle. Leadership. Red has +1. Combat superiority. Both have +1. We did this before. It's weird. Whenever I'm following these kind of things, I really do have to do this. Army size, nobody's big. There's no intercept. I didn't try to avoid battle. The loyalists are a +2. Okay, so the loyalists get a big 8, and I believe I had 8 strength points. Yeah. 8 at 8 does 4 hits. And this is going to be 2 at 8, which does 1 hit. So 4 hits gets these guys down to a 1. And what's this? That's right. There are 4 total. Oh, fuck. There are 4 total here. And we'll fall back to where we came from. Nobody's dead. Did I have any reactions over here? No. I did not win a battle. And this guy takes 1 and is down to a 2. With a success. That will end the battle. And his card, the usurpers are not doing well. We're back to the Romans. We've got some nice numbers this guy can try to avoid. Avoid battle. Let's look again. Okay, so the Romans have an easier chance of avoiding battle. Avoiding into here would be dangerous, but I could do it into here with a plus. I gotta swap batteries. Figure out what's with this butthead. I don't know. I may have dropped him off accidentally or something. I was there. I would have had an extra strength point if that was the case. So I'll just leave him there and try to figure out what the fuck. But I think I accidentally abandoned something thinking it was like a fortified city or whatever. I don't know where I am. I mean, I was away for a minute, and I really don't know. I'm at the Roman turn, and I'm trying to decide what to do. I'm trying to figure out whether I can get anything here, right? So I have a minor campaign that would be nice to use. I could move this and again do something with it. I don't know what. But I also have something that gives me all sieges, give me bonus, well, give me more violent results. So why don't we move the minor campaign? Because I can do 2 leaders using the ops. You lose nothing. Like, you know, the game very seldom feels like, do you want to use the ops or the event? It feels like, do you want to use the event that gives you the ops? Every now and then there's like, you know, reaction cards and stuff where it's like, do you want to hold this? Or, yeah, but here I'm getting everything here. So this guy will be getting 5 movement points. So I go in 1. I am going to try to evade because I'm badly outnumbered. I am evading to here, which means I have +1 if Roman and avoiding across a clear. Yep. And +2 for my tactical rating. It's not a comparison or something. So I'm at +3. I get a 6. I successfully evade. Okay. Now this guy had, let's get him down there. He had 5. He's got 4. I can spend 1 to convert this space. Or I can just keep marching. Now if I convert this space, it doesn't give me much, right? Or does it? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces on this section of the board. 6 spaces for taking Cisalpina. If I spend another movement point, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have to take 3 of the 5 remaining spaces. I'm gonna spend, but I'm not sure that it's the right move. And now we get this. This is the first time we've seen this. I move in again. That's another movement point. He's going to try to evade again. He's at +3. I think I'm going to fall back up this way. That's successful. I spend another point to convert another area. But now things are kind of problematic, because if I move in there, I'm not going to have a point. So I'd better not spend that point. Instead, I move again. He's going to try to evade again. He's going to fall back this way towards his 1 strength point that he shouldn't have left alone. 5, that's not good enough. We're going to have a battle. Okay. So it's 7-4. And red is again at +2. And purple at +1. 7 at 7 is I do 4 hits. I wipe that out. 5 at +1 is 6-4. It does 2 hits. So we lose 2 of our units. This is wiped out. It doesn't give me anything. You'd expect like the cause to be, but the emperor was present. The emperor is gone. I should be bagging him, but that'll work. This is displaced. I've got 1 movement point left, which I will spend on placing this thing. I could go for a siege or whatever. I don't know. But I think I can take a province. And that'll put me on the last thing, and I have one card, but something just happened. The Emperor just died. That does something. I know that it does something. I hope I'm in rules here. Because I might not be. This rule book is, I think, all rules. But it all looks like such a mess. Emperor elimination. When the last Emperor leader of the usurper power leaves play, lots of words in a parentheses, and it is not the reinforcement phase, it's not. All usurper leaders' fortification markers in CU are replaced by their loyalist equivalent, and control over all usurper spaces is changed to loyalist control. So I just won the Civil War. This leader joins. Everything converts over. That's the danger of using the usurper too violently. Take these off. I'm going to take that 1 point back because this should have happened before. So I still have a movement point on that card. And this is a minor campaign. I still have another leader I could play. I just knew I wasn't going to coalesce the forces. So I guess we'll move up towards the Danube. And you can see everything's turned red, right? And now I have another force I could activate. I was going to activate this and bring it down. Now there's still a possibility of these guys being a problem. So getting something in that direction may not be too bad. Or I could go whack some Picts, which might be of some value. I can't activate this again. I don't have a lot of forces available. And it has to be leader activations. What about Picts? I don't have a hell of a lot here. But I could gather up quite a bit of force. There's a large army in Britannia. What is my remaining card? My remaining card is a Loyalist Uprising. Activate a Loyalist leader. All siege attempts result in the gain of 2 siege points. So this is kind of interesting. It's a prelude card. It feels like it's supposed to be used against the usurper, but I think I can use it anywhere. There's no guarantee that this is going to come out and play. I think the Picts are my best choice. So oh, this is expensive guy to move though, but so is this. Okay, great. All right, so I have 4 movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4. I make it up to there. That's all normal spaces. And now I get a 5 counter for that. And we're ready to do something impressive. These are both here. And now all I got is the Barbarians. Oh well. Well, we'll try something new. I'll activate this leader. I can't do a migration because the only thing that I can move over is this. So this is going to be rough terrain. It's going to cost me 2 movement points to go over. I only have 4 because I have such a slow leader, so this goes here. I attack. And this is, I think, part of Hispania, because it's the same color. Can't avoid with these Romans. So let's see. What are our modifiers? Superior leadership, +1 for the and +1 for each. +1 for each, and it's 2 to 1. So 4 at 1 does 1, and 8 at 2, we'll wipe that out. This is a barbarian unit, so it comes from this pile. I spend 1 to continue movement or something, or 1. I don't know. I could take some attrition if I do this. So I spend 1 to convert this. That's the first thing. Now what? And you can see, I can't see that this is controlled. The counter's too small, and if it's off to the side, it's going to cause problems. It's just... And if there's control markers everywhere, I still can't see whose control marker it is. What do I want to do? What am I allowed to do? Yeah, this is an interesting question. Do we have the list of costs? I think it was here. I can spend 1 to do that, but I just did a battle. I wiped him out in battle, so I have an extra movement point. But that doesn't really help me. Oh, I mean, if I don't convert it, I don't convert it, and I could just march in and fight. But then bad things could happen, I guess. Oh, did I win the battle? I lost the battle. I have to retreat. No, I did 2 points of damage. They did 1. Yeah. All right. I think I just stopped there. I think I don't want to do anything. That puts me to the last Roman card, which would allow me to siege barbarians more effectively. Ah. So this guy would only get 3 actions. This guy would get 4. But I don't feel like he's terribly useful for 4. So I'm going to use him. I'm going to use the... All siege attempts result in the gain of 2 siege points at the loss of a beast. I'm going to use this. I don't think I can do anything with it. I move up. That's 1. Can't be evaded. So now I'm at 5 to 2. What kind of terrain is that? I would think it's rough, but I can't see with my eyes. Yeah, that's rough. So that costs me 2 of my movement points. I only have 3, so I have 1 left. I can convert the space after a victory. Okay, great. But I'm a great leader at +3. Who the hell is this? Slow but very competent at 5-2. So +3, I get 5 at 5. That kills them both. And they get 3 at 2. They kill 1 of mine. So there go a couple of barbarians. There go... What did I say? They kill 1. There goes this. And I spend the extra activation point to take this. And that's the first strategy phase done. And yes, I need these counters or something to keep track of various points that are in play. Okay. That was the attrition phase. No, that was the strategy phase. Attrition. Is anybody on an enemy space? I don't believe so, because I conquered all of this. This was taken, that was taken. There's nobody in the siege space. Isolated usurper spaces become loyalists. They all converted anyway. Migration. The barbarian player must migrate each of their tribal markers. I'm only allowed to move it 1 space, and it will go here. And I'm going to put this under that, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Scoring phase. Roman player scores. Yeah, he does. Okay, this looks like rule 4. Kind of out of place in the ordering there. We find rule 4. Scoring phase is rule 5, so maybe that's what we should be on, but let's see. So rule 4 tells me how to do this, but it doesn't tell me how many points I get, whereas scoring phase does over here. Roman play. Why are they... what the fuck? Oh, this is the sequence of play here? Under 5? Yeah. But they don't have a sequence of play saying 5, do they? Yeah, they do. Okay. The Roman player scores victory points increased by 1 for each province they control over 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. Very good start for the Loyalists, or for the Romans, or whatever you want to call them. No automatic victory. We're going to hit the reinforcement phase. My batteries are running down again. Each power receives reinforcements and return leaders. Then we advance the turn marker. Okay, but this counts as a displaced leader or something like that. All right, we'll look into that. That may cause a new usurpation. I don't know, because it's a new ruler. In which case, yeah, I might have wanted to set up for that. So let's look, because all the rules were in the sequence of play for the scoring phase. Maybe they are for reinforcements. For each of their tribes, the barbarian player places a number of CU on its unbesieged tribal marker equal to its score. Okay, so this goes from a 1 to a 2. Okay. Do anything else? The Roman player gets 1 CU in each unbesieged loyalist-controlled provincial capital. I have like 7 capitals, so I'll be placing all of them. Change that to 9 capitals. I just counted them, right? Should be able to remember. Anything else happen here? Additionally, displaced leaders are available once more and must be placed by the controlling player. Loyalist leaders are placed with any unbesieged loyalist CU in any unbesieged loyalist-controlled walled city. I need to look up what's up with this reinforcement. And it's not here. It's over here. And it's not there. This is the extended example of play. What the hell? Okay. During reinforcement phase of A, if there is a loyalist emperor in play, there is, and no other emperors, add the Constantius II and 10 CUs in the Eastern Roman Empire zone on their usurper side. So this is the one answer to... This can only happen in this circumstance, which is kind of interesting. So I won the Civil War, but now there's another Civil War starting. But what I really wanted to know was, does he just like show up in some place? Can I like, control where he's gonna, which province he shows up in based on where I put my reinforcements? The answer is not really. So this guy is really awesome, but he doesn't have a hell of a lot of troops. So the problem is there's not a lot of troops here. That's really what it comes down to. I'm going to put him here in Rome, I guess. And what about this monster? Do I want to put him here, or do I want the emperor to be in danger of being lost? If I do a successful usurpation. So here's what I'm thinking. If I bring this forward to fight, even though I'm outnumbered, if I lose the fight, I could conceivably then throw a card away, switch over to the usurper. There would be no emperor anymore on the new usurper side. And something... And I would just take over the empire again and get all my points. So let's look at how this is. During the strategy phase, the Roman player can discard a card to take a successful usurpation action. When the Roman player takes such an action, remove the successful usurpator marker if currently in play. All the spaces and markers currently controlled by the usurper power come under control of the loyalist player. All the spaces and marker currently controlled by the loyalist come under the usurper. If the loyalist now has no emperor, the Roman player gets the successful usurpator to make one of his loyalist leaders an emperor. And this would mean the last leader of the usurper power would have just left play, as far as I see it. I'm going to look through the notes and whatnot to make sure that I'm not missing something. Because I don't know. I mean, it's possible, i.e. during successor strife, barbarians at the gate scenario, or after at least one successful usurpation has been taken by the Roman player, there should be no emperor leader of the usurper power otherwise. I'm not sure that this makes sense. If I lose and do a usurpation, I may end up in the situation where something horrible is happening. Where, and I would rather that be the case, that it be a very bad result. But I still don't know what to do with him. Because I want to put him in Britannia. I hate to use my good leader there, but I've got these crappy leaders who are doing things, who are holding certain locations against me. And there's just not a lot of troops down here. Can I do anything of value here? Am I that worried about, what are these? About the Mari? Maybe I should be. At least they're active. Okay, I'll do that. But yeah, I don't think I want to lose a battle to him, because that'll put me in a situation. So there's different ways you can interpret it. The last emperor leader of the usurper power leaves play when I convert and lost my emperor. But I don't think that's how it's meant to be read. I think it's meant to be read, if I lose my emperor in a battle, and he's permanently displaced or whatever, then the new, like if I play a usurpation after that, the new force isn't losing its emperor. It just had no emperor. So it gets a usurpation, successful emperor or whatever. Well, no, I would, no. This guy is the emperor. He would become the loyalists, but everything else would convert over to usurper. And the usurper doesn't need to have an empire, an emperor. It can be a conglomeration of people who are all fighting for the realm. So, yeah. So I think there's nothing good for me in terms of challenging this to attack it. So Illyricum may be problematic. I may not be able to do anything terribly good, because this is a big force. We took care of this. What happens with this? Imperial succession fights. I think that's a card or something. We're going to move this forward. That pushes those guys out. I'm going to load this up. The turn took a lot longer than, the amount of plays that should be done. Some of that is because trying to look shit up, again, the rules are a challenge to deal with. Some of it, of course, is me ranting about the rules being a challenge to play with. And then some of it is, me misinterpreting something like a card or something and not knowing what's going to happen. But these are first wave. We're not going to be adding any more cards. We're going to be just using the rest of the Prelude deck on the next draw phase. So that's where we're going to start, and up it goes. And whew. Now, in terms of personal stuff, I am like almost out of food. I know, you're used to hearing this, but it's worse than it's been yet. It's getting to the point, it's not at the point where I'm going to starve, right? Like, I found several pounds of cooked rice in the garbage on the way back from dancing, like 2.5 weeks ago or whatever. And that's in the freezer. So I've got food, right? I'm not going to starve to death. I've got eggs. I've got stuff like that. But all the stuff that I want, that I'm used to dealing with is gone. And what's worse is all my stocks are gone. Like, I'm bankrupt. No, like I've always had canned food and stuff like that, and I'm very, very low on those. I have like a can of soup, um, a can of yams. What the hell? I found it. I find stuff all over the place. I should show you guys the shoes. There was one night, a couple weeks before that, maybe, maybe a month before or so, that I sat down and had dinner. Like there were a couple of homeless guys who were picking trash, and one of them asked me to sit down, so I did, and he like offered me some mac and cheese. He had found some mac and cheese, and I'm like, okay, that's great, actually. I'm really starving. And then he ended up giving me this pair of basically brand new Nikes. They almost fit me. They fit me, except that my feet are a little too wide for them, but they're like, I was walking on my way to dancing, and somebody was like, nice shoes, and they really meant it, and the rest of me looks like the crap that I normally look like. Well, not that I've been looking like recently. I used to kind of dress up, but I'm too fat to dress now. So, I'm there in torn shorts and t-shirt and whatnot. And, I mean, it's obvious I'm wearing a brand new pair of very expensive sneakers, and I am not the person who should be doing this at all. A couple other people noticed them too, and it's just like, it's so weird. It's like, I would never pick these things. To me, they're as bad as to me, they're as bad as any shoes that I pick out of the garbage, sort of the worst shoes that I pick out of the garbage. Because what I actually really like are really well broken in shoes. And these are absolutely brand new. I'll show you them on the way up. Anyway, and then I'll load this. No, I just am a cluttered mess. Almost all of these shoes are found shoes, right? At one time or another. I'm trying to think if I bought any of these. These are the ones I was talking about. And, I mean, absolutely pristine when I was obviously the first person wearing them. These were legitimately trash picked. And, they're equivalently very good shoes. Oh, no, I bought this pair. I bought this pair. This was the one my doctor made me buy. These are sort of my standbys. They were in perfect shape when I found them. They were sitting outside of the shoe store, actually. I think what happened was somebody, I mean, they weren't brand new, but somebody bought a pair of shoes and switched, But yeah, I mean, I have tons of sneakers in various states of disrepair, but these are the most comfortable that I have still. These guys are pretty damn good. They're a little too big, and but all of the rest are falling apart. So like the soles have holes in them and stuff. So rocks and rain get in them. They're no good. These are my oldest, probably. I don't know. I don't know how old that pair is. But I had those suckers back in Phoenix, definitely. I think most of these others I've picked up in Eugene. Except for these I had. but again, I don't know when those are for. I may have actually bought them, not new but used. These I may have also bought, not new but used, or found when I was in Phoenix. Anyway, just such a weird, it's amazing, what you can find in terms of shoes. In trash and whatnot, and not even in the trash, just like sitting by the side of the road or something like that. People take them off. A lot of them are hanging on electrical lines, but I'm not tall enough to get them and haven't figured out a way to do so. But I'm sure a lot of those shoes up on the electric lines are better than most of what I actually wear. And then there are ones that are probably just a little better than what I wear, which means that I really would like them.